Hey there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Father Roderick, and it is Wednesday, what is it? The 12th of January, which means it is the day of the launch of the third chapter of the Book of Boba Fett. And if I'm correct, it should be right there in my browser in front of me. Yes, there it is. Chapter 3, Boba Fett must deal with two very different threats. I wonder which those will be. I'm gonna put it up there. I wonder if the chapter title is already there. So in a minute you can sync up with me. I'll do a countdown timer. By the way, I'll show that one. There's the countdown timer. Well, it's not a countdown. I'll do a vocal countdown, like 5, 2, 3, 2, 1. Then we could all press play, and then you'll see the timer in the corner that shows you exactly where I am, and so you know that we're watching the same scene. Otherwise my reactions may be a little bit out of sync. At the end of this watch party, of course, I'd love to talk with you a little bit more about what we've seen. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff to discover, as always, and things to speculate about. So yeah, I wonder if I can't really see the title, but that's nothing new. For some reason, the interface of Disney Plus kind of hides the titles. Yeah, if you press on it, it will just show you the main thing. Okay, well, because the title always also contains clues. So if anyone in the chat room has already figured out what the title is for this third episode, let me know. Hey, Oliver, Stephen, Michiel, and Maka Ragnos, and Paul, good day to all of you. I'm going to put up my headphones. So I finally figured out why so few people are chiming in for this watch party. And it is because I totally forgot to tag the whole video. I still have so much to learn when it comes to YouTube. So if you type in Watch Party Boba Fett Chapter 3, you won't find this video feed, which is a shame because it's been up there since yesterday. But I guess every week we'll get a little bit better. Anyway, if you're watching this after the fact, thank you so much. And you'll also be able to sync up. That's the great thing about these watch parties. You don't have to be constantly watching at exactly the same time. As long as we sync, then it's all going to be good. So what I hope we're going to see is more of the Dark Wookiee, of course. And I want to see more of the Hutts. See some awesome fights, and hopefully also some deeper mythology. So that would be really great if we get to see a little bit more of what makes the Book of Boba Fett so incredibly enthralling up to this moment. All right, you know what? I'm ready to go. I hope you are too. Are you ready for the countdown? Then I'm going to do that and press play here, hopefully together with the timer. All right, here we go. Put your hand on your computer or remote control. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ichota. Oh, I love that. That Rancor scene was amazing. Except no Rancor. Previously on the Book of Boba Fett. This is important because we get to see what we should know. Okay, it shows you the tension between the mayor and Boba. Who really sent the Night Wind? There you go, the twins, that's the answer. So the Hutts were behind it. And here you see that it's going to be between the twins and their minions and Boba. Sleep light bounty hunter, yeah. Oh, yes. The Wookiee is there again. Very cool. All right, let's go. Start of the episode. Ooh, so cool. Now we get the little red and blue opening. Another beautiful, gorgeous shot of Tatooine. Oh, this is from the trailer. That's that little spider thing with the red bowl, which contains its brains, I suppose. What a gorgeous shot. The name that should not be spoken. Wow. Cool. A little bit of backstory. That's interesting. Ah. Some new names for me. So there are different factions in the city. A little bit like Mafia. Interesting. This shows that the mayor benefits from the situation. Ah, this is still the test phase. Trying to figure out if Boba Fett is a force to be reckoned with. There's one of the guards, and he's got lines. A vassal. Interesting. No appointment. Oh, love that little R2 or whatever, R4 unit. Oh, that was a projector. He was projecting the city hologram. Cool. All right, on another audience. Lorthapeel? Uh-oh. Lord Fortuna. The what? This is the quest giver, by the way, in games. So he wants protection, I guess. Another reminder of the past of Tatooine. Ooh, half man, half machine. Wait. He's talking about the Borg. Interesting. So now everything becomes smaller. He's got to be the local crime lord in Mos Espa. It's a pretty big city. Beautiful shot by night. Oh, gorgeous. Oh, wow, that looks great. Hey, Scumdog, welcome to the stream. You can look on the timer where I am in the episode. Not much has happened. Boba Fett now has to guard the streets. Oh, look at those speeder bikes. Oh, the chrome ones? That is amazing. Oh, those are a fantastic looking speeder bikes. Like, this could be Italy. I think I've seen her in one of the trailers or snippets. So she's important. Yeah, I told you, cyborg, Borg technology. You're just like you and I. We are the same. We're just crime lords. Now he has to show that he's above all these other gangs. That sounds like an old man. Y'all should be working instead of wasting your time with your friends. Reminiscent of Uncle Owen. He looks so rad in his costume, his armor. All right, now he's going to be the street daddy. Oh, he's been listening. So now it's clear who the real scumbag is, actually. Love the Jawas in the background there. I've never seen that look in Star Wars before. It's like piercings, but it's cyborg technology. Okay. I have to say, these street gangs are really, they have a sense of fashion. Look at those speeder bikes. Oh my gosh, these are amazing. And they probably have a lot of money because those look very expensive compared to the regular speeder bikes. And there we go, the opening music, Book of Boba Fett. So this sets the scene. This is going to be a smaller story. Maybe this is just one of those, you know, not so mythical, but more about action. Oh, love it. That's an enhancement of the, oh, that's so cool, of the Return of the Jedi snippet where the same critter was eating a frog and now it's like, what is it? One of those triple dishes. Another dream of Camino. Oh, look at that. Boba Fett ship taking off. Gorgeous shot. This is new. And it's probably that same, yeah, it's that same traumatic scene where young Boba sees that his father is leaving him. So it shows you the, like, the trauma of him, you know, being all alone. Or actually missing a father, and now I think he's going to be the father. Look at that shot. He's going to be the father of all these families on Tatooine. Oh, great shot. Look at that bantha. So now he's learned how to ride a bantha. That's another part of his initiation. Look at that. He's the king of the desert. Gorgeous shot with the first sun rising. The second sun is probably behind. Look at those shots. This must be all CGI, but my goodness. Gorgeous. They even do the lens flare very realistically. Or maybe it's a combination of a real shot and then they CGI'd in the bantha. Awesome to see some Jawas again. So this is still in his early phase, right? This is a flashback. He's trying to figure out all the different factions. Oh, we got another shot of those stormtrooper helmets on spikes that we saw in the We see some service droids in the background. walking around. Actually, these might all be little snippets that link this episode to this flashback to the Mandalorian. Oh, there we've got the old Pike helmet, the ones that we saw in Solo. Again, shows you that their visual appearance can be different from place to place. Awesome costume. All right, so this is very much the kind of all the mafia tropes. Now he's seeking an audience with the local Pike crime lord. I love these costumes. They're amazing. But the ones in the back definitely give me a Star Trek vibe. Again, mafia team. You have to pay protection. The prosthetics on these actors are amazing. Again, those Nikto Sand Riders, yeah. So they've got a problem. The Pikes have a problem. If they have to pay both all these gangs, it's costing them too much. Now, Boba Fett wants their allegiance, but he only gets it when he defeats the Nikto gang, which, you know, is already done in a certain way, or at least he has confronted them before. With the Nutcracker biker, finally understand what the joke was about. So the Pike costumes, masks look a little bit different from the Clone Wars, obviously, because this is much later in time. So they have evolved their own, you know, fashion, I guess. A fire in the distance. This is not boding well. This rhymes with the scene, of course, of Luke Skywalker running also towards the camera, discovering that his uncle and aunt have been killed and murdered. And here, same thing. The Tusken camp has been completely demolished, burned to the ground. Are the Tuskens dead? I see a lot of dead Banthas, but I don't see the Tusken Raiders. Yeah, this is totally... Look at that, the music. Do you hear that music? It's almost religious music. Oh gosh, no, they have killed the Tuskens as well. Oh, this is horrible. All his friends are dead. Who did this is, of course, the big question. Oh no. They killed the leader of the Tuskens. What about the kid? Is the kid still alive? Did he manage to get away? And again, the same sign that we saw the biker gang put on the farmer. There you go. That's another flashback just to remind us where we've seen that before. Of course, is it really the Nikto gang, or did someone else do that? Another burial scene, very dramatic. He even wrapped them in black clothes, so you don't see their faces, or, well, you never see the faces of the Tusken Raiders. Another one of those typical Tusken staffs. I think that was the staff of the leader. Oh, and that's of the kid, right? Oh, that is so sad. This, of course, echoes Luke Skywalker having to witness the murder on his foster parents, but also burning the Jawas that have been killed by the Empire. Oh no! Whoa! Black Chrysanthemum inside the castle, inside the palace. Oh my goodness! Whoa! Oh my gosh, okay. Oh, that is horrible. Look at that. The armor he has, the electrified, punching thing. Where's Fennec? Isn't she supposed to be on guard? Oh my goodness, he's so incredibly fearsome. Oh no! Oh my goodness! Oh, he's just crushing him. What? There's Fennec, finally. No, it's not Fennec. Oh, it's one of the kids. Wow. Oh, they definitely are courageous. Taking on a huge bounty hunter like that. Boba Fett is crawling in the background. My goodness. Whoa! Did you see that? Oh no, the Gamorrean guards. No, 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 no. I like these guys. Oh, wow. What a fight. And the Wookiee is still standing despite that he's been stabbed multiple times. This guy's a monster. And he's just biting everyone. So you see, this is the first time that we see a Wookiee using the fangs. Now, Fennec, finally. Oh, yeah. Oh, Rancor. Rancor pit. I think she's just gonna... Oh, ouch, 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 ouch. I felt that. So now instead of a... No, Rancor! We're getting a Rancor? No, no, no. He's just looking up. What are these footsteps? Maybe there is a Rancor. Wow. I hear a monster down there. Or is that just... That's him. Did you see that? Look at that food. Oh, wow. That is too cool. So now Black Chrysanthemum is the new monster. He replaces the Rancor in a certain way. Enough food. Those poor droids. They're not made for that kind of stuff. Look at that food. So obviously, Chrysanthemum was sent by the Hutts, right? Oh, the the Hutts are at the palace. Now that's new. And a gift. Last time, someone brought a gift. You know what happened. Oh, they're waiting outside. Oh, I thought it was another snack bowl, but it's just for the poor mouse. They're just admitting that they sent Chrysanthemum? So obviously Chrysanthemum didn't come back. Whoa, what is that? No! A dead Rancor. They captured a Rancor? It's a new Rancor. Seriously, that is the coolest thing ever. Oh, oh man. This is such a great payoff of the last time we thought we were going to see a Rancor and we didn't. A gift. Okay, more information. We were both lied to. Another syndicate. Ah, secret player. Of course, the mayor is involved. Oh, it's a prisoner exchange. Interesting. So he gets the Wookiee and the Rancor. Something tells me that actually the Wookiee will become an ally later on. You see? He's just releasing the Wookiee, so it's a sign of goodwill. No hard feelings. Just business. You almost got killed by the Wookiee. He does not understand this. But that, again, shows you the magnanimity, is that the word? That's a good point. The Hutts always benefit from like infights. That's why you can't trust them. I love it that the Rancor is back. He seems a bit smaller than the original one. And I think, wasn't it in the Clone Wars, one of those animated series, there's a smaller Rancor also coming back. Or brought back. Oh, he's depressed. What's his name? The actor. Oh, he's gonna train the Rancor. Who is the actor? Gosh, Danny. Yeah, Danny Trejo. I think that's it. That's him. Gonna look that up. That's another cameo they really kept hidden for us. He's a great guy, by the way. Yep, that's it. It's Danny Trejo. This was rumored, but we didn't know for sure. Isn't it amazing we get all this backstory for the Rancor? The witches of Dathomir wrote these creatures. Oh, he's gonna ride a Rancor! Seriously! Oh, that's good. That's so amazing cool. He's ridden beasts 10 times the size. What? Amazing. So this is another, Western trope, right? You gotta try to ride the fiercest horse, the one that doesn't obey to anyone, very dangerous. And of course the cowboy, the hero, once he masters that horse, it's kind of another proof of his abilities. And now we understand, because of this backstory of the Rancor, just like Michiel says in the chat, now we understand why the guards of the original Rancor were so heartbroken when Luke killed the Rancor. Because you develop a strong bond, right? The Rancor develops a bond with the owner. POV of a Rancor, that's cool. And of course, he's got that ring to also symbolize basically slavery, right? The Rancors too are used as servants. Easy boy. I never thought we would see someone cuddle a Rancor. He's talking to the Rancor as if it is a puppy or a cat. I gotta feed the Rancor. Well, that's a good way to win its heart. Again, the mayor doesn't want to see Boba. That is so cool. I love this. Again, so much more backstory. Oh, we got the cool speeder bikes again. This is nice. They're real props. And they're probably riding on wheels, and then they removed it with CGI. So that it looks like they're floating. Yeah, you can tell that they just removed the wheels. These are so awesome. That's a Lego set right there. The same scene. Need to see the mayor. Indeed. Are they going to barge in again? Yep, Fennec is... I love her, the way she plays that character. Very understated, like, don't mess with my boss. It's a typical, manager babble or assistant babble. Type schedules, blah, blah, blah. Fennec is like, it works. Oh no. Something is going on, so why is the mayor hiding from Boba? Something is amiss. No mayor. Dank Ferric, is that another swear word? Dank sounds sweary. They're comparing speeders. Oh, he's trying to get away. So we get a chase. Yes, this is so George Lucas. Yes. Oh, a land speeder bike chase. Oh, that's... Oh, look at that protocol droid. Of course, in the way. Look, he's got the markings. Someone got creative with some paint. Love to see another 3PO. Oh no! Hey, we saw one of those carriers before in The Mandalorian, remember? This is so cool. Oh, cool. Yes, yes, the service droids from the prequels. Very old models. Of course, some market stalls have to be overthrown. These speeders, because they're practical, they don't look that fast. That's the downside of using, like, practical speeders. Uh-oh. Makes sense that there are a lot of water tanks in the city. Oh, wow. This, of course, very similar to the chase sequences in space, where they fly into structures like the Death Star. Yeah, this is definitely these bikes are on. Wow, they've got some cool gadgets. That was pretty cool. This is all practical. I'm sure of it. No, painting of Jabba. that was classic. Yeah. Follows all the tropes. 1 down, 3 to go. The bits. Oh, that was pretty good. Wow. I mean, if that's all practical, stunning. Whoa. Okay, that was a very cool scene. That's first time you get a sense of speed of these Vespas in space. And there's Boba using his jetpack. How cool is that? The mayor and the Pikes are working together, really. Wow, that is a Millennium Falcon-like structure, like a carrier ship. At least the sides reminded me of the Millennium Falcon. Oh wow, so these are big, like the equivalent of trucks, I suppose? Trucks in space? Or are these passenger carriers? These might actually be airplanes with all the windows. Oh yeah. So these are large passenger ships. Ooh. Are the Pikes going to invade Tatooine? I want a costume like that. I love those. Their attire, combination with the masks, it looks fantastic. Yeah, these speeder bikes are on rails. It's called a Starliner. How cool. The first wave said, yeah, the Pikes are going to war. Wow. It's getting more and more complicated. I love it. Oh, that's it? That's how short it... That's a short episode. Like, I think that's half the duration of the previous one. Oh, wow. Let's look at that artwork, which is always cool. This pre-production artwork is so gorgeous. I'm surprised they're not selling it. Who wouldn't want to have a piece of art like that in the house? Okay, we got the first version of the speeders. Oh man, this was definitely the episode of the Wookiee. Black Chrysanthemum. I wonder if this is it. I had a sense that we would see him again, and the fight was awesome. But I feel that he's going to be back because Boba Fett was so generous towards him. I think ultimately he's going to ally himself with Boba. That Rancor was also amazing. In the artwork, the Rancor, it has these iPads on, so he can't see. He's blinded. Just like they do with horses sometimes. To calm them, they will cover their eyes so they can adjust. I guess that was probably a little bit too confusing if they would have done that in the TV episode. Okay. The plot definitely starts to thicken. You can see that this is setting up the rest of the series. Maybe that is why in itself it feels much less epic. There are visually a lot of epic stuff, but story-wise, you feel that this is not a rounded story like the previous one. I really like that music. In my analysis, of course, I will go take a look, like a closer look to all these credits, see if there is anything new in it. Sometimes it gives you names of people that are, or creatures that are not named in the episode. So the catering is Mario's catering. So, and of course, a lot of the stuff was filmed with the stagecraft technology with the screens. Well, that was it. That was the third chapter of the Book of Boba Fett. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's chat a little bit about what we saw. So, according to Michiel, well, he says, it makes me wonder if the Major Domo is really the power behind the throne, so to speak, and the mayor was just a public figurehead. Yes, it feels to me like the mayor did not voluntarily go to the pikes or whatever. That's out of character. So probably it is the Major Domo who was behind it. The fact that he was trying to flee shows that there's more to his role there. And I don't know about the Hutts. They definitely also are playing with the situation. The arrival of all the pikes. Yeah, I really feel that this is one of those episodes where I have to go back and watch it again and try to figure out, what's going on here. Visually, there's a lot to enjoy immediately. I don't know the political machinations of this episode. I need to kind of rethink that over again and see, well, what is truly happening here and what could be the setup for what's next. One thing that this episode does very well, it's what I thought was going to happen when they said, oh, this is all about the various factions that are controlling parts of the city, that this would be a classic, mafia New York type of story where everything would be very small, in the sense that it would just be Boba Fett trying to solve the local problems of Mos Espa. Instead, this episode kind of thwarts my expectations by making it much bigger. We see these huge passenger ships arrive, these Starliners arrive with, maybe these Starliners are like a follow-up to the big passenger ships that we see in the prequels. I'll have to look at some visual comparisons. But the fact that all these hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of pikes arrive, show that there is, a war is brewing, so they're amplifying the scale. And of course, the big question is why? The Hutts say there's nothing here on Tatooine we're going back to. Now, Hutta, there's nothing here for us, it's just a rock. Good luck with it, you should probably also leave. However, the pikes are now arriving with war strength, so why? Any ideas in the chat? I'd love to hear that from you. Oops, my camera was kind of out of focus there. I'm going to stop the timer. And why is this episode so short? I'm shocked. Like I felt like we're halfway and now ending. That feels a little bit strange compared to the previous episode that was so long and so good. And this one is like, oh, it's almost as if we've seen only half of an episode. Dank Ferrick. What was that again? Let me just Google that because I've heard that before. Was it Ferrick with a K? Oh, yeah. Oh, we've seen that in The Mandalorian, apparently. What does it mean? An exclamatory expression, possibly an expletive, used to express anger and frustration, as well as astonishment. Oh. So I should say that after watching an episode. Dang, Ferrick, that was good. Interesting. So now we know how to swear. Whenever we visit one of the planets, we could say, "Dang, Ferrick, that was cool," or "Not Truta." How rude. So, what do you think is going on? So 39 seconds, according to Paul, is the same length as the first episode. So it's the second one that is kind of an exception to the rule. Interesting. But Danny Trejo, is that how you pronounce it? That was so unexpected. And, well, I immediately Googled it, and I saw that there were rumors about that. Let me just look that up real quick. Danny Trejo, Boba Fett. Trejo. So here is on CBR.com an article that says, it's time for Danny Trejo to join the Star Wars universe. Director Robert Rodriguez and actor Danny Trejo are the perfect match for the upcoming Star Wars series. Wherever the filmmaker goes, says this article, Danny Trejo is seldom far behind. The actor should join Rodriguez in the Star Wars universe. Trejo is a cross-genre favorite, an actor who knows what he does best and plays up to it. He can be anything from a heartwarming family man to a superhero to a heavy. His most famous role, Machete, somehow manages to embody all of those. It's a character that works under the direction of the equally versatile Rodriguez, and Machete was always meant to be Trejo's vehicle. Let's see if there's any. Wow, so they really, either they had some foreknowledge and they couldn't mention it in this article, or they just had a lucky guess. Definitely ideal for the role here. Although they speculate that he's going to be a bad guy, which he's not. Oh, Gary Whitta, the Rogue One writer, suggested that Trejo would be a great fit for The Mandalorian last year. So obviously they were already kind of talking about this. And of course, this is not going to be the last that we see of him, because the whole promise that they set up here is that we're going to see Boba Fett riding a Rancor, or first of all, taming the Rancor. Classic Western trope. And I do hope that we're going to see it. I hope that we're not going to get in the next episode like we're just going to move forward in time, and then he'll just all of a sudden be riding the thing. I want to see the taming of the beast. Another thing that was pretty shocking, and I didn't know they were going to go this route, was the murder of all the Tuskens. This shows kind of what's at stake. The enemy that did that, and they try to make you believe that it is the biker gang, which probably is not the case. It is meant, that attack on the Tuskens is of course meant to anger Boba Fett. So maybe there's a party that has that can benefit from the Nikto gang being killed. So maybe the Pikes are behind it after all, because they needed to pay money to all these different gangs to do their business. They didn't want to do that. So from a business perspective, it would be nice if the Nikto gang was eliminated. However, Boba Fett had already promised that he would do that. So it doesn't make sense for them to kill off the Tuskens just to get him angry at the Nikto gang. So what's going on here? What's going on? There's definitely more to this episode, and we'll probably only be able to appreciate it once we see what it's setting up. That's kind of the... I wouldn't be surprised if Star Wars fans are going to be a bit disappointed in this episode, despite all the cool contents. Story-wise, I'm thinking it's part of a bigger story, but since we don't know how this is setting up stuff, it feels a little bit... I'm still hungry. Let's put it that way. I want to see a bit more. Also, it was kind of light on the more mythological side of it. The previous episode, of course, if you've seen my breakdown videos, was very heavy on the exposition and showing you all sorts of metaphors of initiation rites and whatnot. It kind of makes sense that this episode is more action-oriented because, well, they've done what they could do in terms of mythology in these two earlier episodes, and it kind of makes sense to put that at the beginning, get that out of the way in a certain way to a certain extent, and then show you what's happening in the present. After all, this is Star Wars. There should also be a good balance between action and mythology. Oliver says, I think the episode has its moments, but I don't think it's better than Chapter 2. But I'm not complaining it's Star Wars. Hey, I'm there with you. True, Chapter 2 was, I think, the highlight of I would say, of Star Wars on Disney+. This is better than anything that I've seen in The Mandalorian, even compared to the last episode of well, can't spoil it. Some people may not have seen it, but the cameo there. That was a great episode, but in terms of like what makes Star Wars, I think the Chapter 2 was definitely number one there. And to some extent, even more Star Wars than any of the sequel movies. Yeah, that was really good. And I already thought after analyzing Chapter 2, I was like, they're never going to be able to top this. This is too good. TK592 says, I wish the episodes would be longer. That would be my only complaint overall. Yeah, same here. On the other hand, the fact that we're like, oh, is it over already? Give us more. That's a sign that they did a good job. We were enjoying the episode. But yes, it felt very short. That Tusken scene, MGA says, that Tusken scene hit hard. Yeah, it was, especially because they humanized the Tusken Raiders so much. So this is very, very impactful, much more even than Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru's death, because, of course, for Luke that was a shocking scene, but we hadn't seen Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru being very nice to Luke. They were, well, Beru was kind of protective of Luke, but Uncle Owen wasn't a nice guy, at least not in A New Hope. Probably their characters will be fleshed out a lot in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, at least I hope. So their death is shocking, but it's not as emotional as this murder scene. But I was surprised that they went there. I really thought these Tusken Raiders would be with Boba Fett until the end of the episode, or the end of the series. And actually, I had high hopes for the Tusken Kid, that he may actually take over the role of Boba Fett. I guess it's not meant to be. Yeah, that was shocking. On the other hand, story-wise, I think it makes sense, because the Tuskens were very important to Boba, yet we didn't see them in the present-day scenes. So what do you do with the story-wise to develop the Tuskens, to give them a role that makes sense, when their main function story-wise was to give the context for the initiation scene and the redemption of Boba Fett, the discovery of his own vocation. But then in terms of fighting an army of pikes, they seem underpowered. So I'm not sure if that would have worked. So story-wise it makes sense for this to happen, but on the other hand, it kind of makes me feel sad that they were so important for these first two chapters, and now that's all we get. They don't even get an honorable death, to say it in Klingon terms. We don't see them fight. We don't see how it happened. They were just slaughtered, and it's a very sad. Even the burial scene was short, very, very short. Well, let's see. Michiel says, if we go by the Clone Wars, the Pikes were universally feared as a crime syndicate. Yeah, that's true. They look actually much kinder than they are. Crossing them universally meant signing your own death warrant. That's true, that's true. So maybe that's what they want to establish. These Pikes are still not to be trusted. They're a fearsome enemy. I wonder if they are all after the water, and if a sort of place to facilitate the exchange of spies. So, but it doesn't make sense to go and seek water on Tatooine. There are so many other planets they can fly to where there's water aplenty. So It doesn't make sense to me that they're after the water. What they could maybe do is make sure there is very little water on Tatooine, even less than there was, to raise the prices, because apparently water is a pretty profitable thing to sell on Tatooine, which is also, by the way, true in our real world. The water shortage, the shortage of drinkable water, even in parts of North America in the summertime, it's not a commodity anymore. It's precious. Tatooine as a place to exchange spice makes sense, but again, I can imagine so many other planets where you can do that. So why Tatooine? There is something that must attract the Pikes to Tatooine that we haven't discovered yet. It kind of makes sense. It's like there is a piece of the puzzle deliberately left out. Disney says Paul doesn't seem to be tied to episode length. They can move it up or down for the section or the story. That's true. That's the advantage of on-demand video. Water guy was Stephen Root. He was in Dodgeball and Get Out. Ah, thank you. He looked familiar to me, and I was like, this has to be a cameo. I didn't think his acting was on par with the rest of the actors. It felt a little bit stiff, a little bit rehearsed, but it was good enough. What if some of the Tuskens escaped? Yeah, that at least the kid. We see the staff of the kid. We don't see Boba Fett. If the kid really died, then Boba Fett may have carried the body of the kid. I think you're right. The kid probably escaped, and we'll see him again. That's what I would do if I were the writers. You don't want the kid to die. And that would reinforce him taking over, being the next generation of Tusken warriors, and maybe potentially, as I predicted, I don't know if that is going to work out, but story-wise, I totally feel that could be an option, is that the Tusken Raider kid comes back, grows up, finds a father in a certain way in Boba Fett, and ultimately becomes the new young Boba Fett. He's going to take over the helmet, literally, of Boba Fett and rule Tatooine. And it makes sense when the more I think of it, the more likely I think this is going to happen, because there's so much emphasis on the Tusken Raiders being the true original inhabitants of Tatooine, the owners of the land. They have ancestral rights. It makes sense. You have to give that a payoff at the end. So Boba Fett right now is the one who's going to bring everyone together like Moses, but then he's going to pass it on, because Boba Fett is also not from Tatooine. He's born on a planet full of water, or at least he grew up on a planet full of water, because he's not from Camino, right? He's from elsewhere. No, actually, that's not true. Django was not from Camino. Boba is born on Camino. So he ultimately is not supposed to be the true king of the land. That should be one of the Tusken Raiders, I think. Yeah. I bet you the kid is still alive, and I bet you he's going to be taking over in the last episode. And of course, the child, obviously, the child has suffered trauma, seeing his entire family murdered. So again, that makes him very much like young Boba Fett. Maybe that is why we got to see that other scene where, the young Boba is seeing his father fly away with his ship. Can't call it the Slave One anymore because they changed the name of the ship officially. So maybe that is another tidbit that they show us to make the connection later on. So if we go back to this episode, we understand, we're already setting up the Tusken Raider kid, the connection between the Tusken Raider kid and Boba Fett. Boba Fett being left by his father, and the Tusken Raider kid basically losing his family as well. If you control the water, you control the planet. That's true. So, but the water itself is not really commercially that interesting, I guess, in a galaxy where there's water plenty. So it's only useful to restrict water on a planet where you want to stay in power. TK592 says, I don't think any escaped, sadly. I have to go back and see if we get a glimpse of that kid. I didn't see him, but Silently says, cool episode. Felt a bit more like chapter 1 because I feel it's a setup for the next big events. Yes, absolutely. Did not expect the Tuscans to perish this episode. Me neither. Yeah, we didn't. Paul says we didn't see the body of the kid or the one that trained Boba. It's true, the female Tusken Raider is also absent. We see that the leader is dead. So what if this is mother and child? And the mother and child, oh, that would be very biblical. Mother and child escape to Egypt or whatever. Just like, oh, you know what? And seeing that the training sequence was so important to Boba Fett, and there was a bond between him, we see a lot of anonymous Tusken Raiders. And we see the leader. But that's okay for the leader to die, because if this kid is going to rule, then obviously he needs to take over. Maybe the leader of the Tuscans was his father. Interesting. Okay, I'm glad. There is actually much more to talk about when I do my analysis videos than I originally thought. Thank you so much for the input. Michiel says, I wonder if the kid eventually becomes part of uniting the tribes of Tatooine against the Pikes. I need to definitely do a separate video about these theories on how this series is going to end, the role of the child, maybe the mother. I have to go back, see if we get a glimpse of them. Because it makes sense. If they wanted the kid and the female Tusken Raider to die, we would have seen them. You want to establish that. You want to show that. Because they were too important to Boba Fett. The fact that we don't see them, we only get the close-up of the leader, that makes us believe that everyone is dead. But I think it's a sign that, no, these two have escaped. These are the only other two Tusken Raiders that have a role, a particular role that have been cast specifically. Yeah, I bet you they're going to come back. So I'm going to do a video about that. I want to do a video about the whole fight scene. Maybe something about the street gang, you know, the teenagers that are helping Boba Fett. Definitely, I got to do a video about the Rancor. Doing some comparisons also. Yeah. And also, absolutely, I'm going to do a speculation video about the biblical analogies between Boba Fett, Moses, and how that could predict the end of the series. Oliver is sold that they escaped. Yeah. Silently has an interesting remark here. More and more, I think a Kira Crimson Dawn appearance may be possible if they dive more into the syndicates. That's it. I think you're right. When I said there is one piece of the puzzle missing, there is something we don't know. This may be it. Who can stand up against the Pikes? It could be Darth Maul. That's going to be the big thing. Is Darth Maul still alive at this time? Or has he been killed? I mean, Boba Fett fighting Darth Maul? Nah. No, I think Darth Maul is already dead, right? How cool would that be? That would be the ultimate fan dream to see that. What name should Boba give the new Rancor? That's a good question. I love that. Never believe any character is dead until you see a body. Good point, Paul. That is just code. You cannot break that moral code. You cannot kill off two important characters without showing their bodies. If you don't show the bodies, then it didn't happen. Yeah, Maul died. I think so too. Where did he die? Did we see his body? However, his weapon may still be there. What if Kira now wields Maul's lightsaber? Oh, how cool would that be? Oh, Maul's dead. Obi-Wan kills him in Rebels. That's a lack of education. I didn't finish watching the Rebels. I never found the time to watch the entire series. Okay. This is post Return of the Jedi. Maul was killed when Luke was still a child. in the Clone Wars. Oh, what, that happened in the Clone Wars? Okay, sorry, I'm confused. I totally forgot about that, or I just didn't want it to happen. Oh no, so it was Rebels. Oh, thank you. So now I know what's going to happen in Rebels. I should have watched that series a long time ago. So we will see Boba Fett, of course, riding a Rancor, obviously. But if Boba Fett is dead, okay, I grant you that. His syndicate may still be alive. Kira, we have to finish her story. We need to know what happened to her. So I'm thinking they're gonna bring her back. There are also obvious links, deliberate links that they made with the Solo story in Chapter 2. So maybe that's also a setup to bring back Kira or that syndicate. How are they going to make it visually cool? I'm thinking most people are like me. They don't have the entire chronology in their heads and know every single detail. So they may have seen the movie, but they never watched any of the animated series. So you need to somehow, if they bring back the crime syndicate of Darth Maul, did that have a name, by the way? Forgot. They need to bring back Kira. And maybe something that reminds us of Darth Maul. So I'm thinking the lightsaber. That's so iconic. There's no lightsaber like that anywhere else. Someone needs to wield it. It can't be just a new villain. So what if Kira is taking that? Although she's probably going to be too old. Well, you're never too old to wield a lightsaber, of course. But it doesn't make sense. It would feel a little bit out of character. Questions. Or, wait a minute. What? What if they pull the same one on us that they did in The Mandalorian? What if we get a cameo in the last episode and instead of Luke Skywalker CGI, it's going to be Han Solo CGI? Han Solo and Kira. Or would that be pushing it? Han Solo Boba Fett. That's unresolved as well. Oh, that's going to happen. That's what I would do. You got to bring back Han Solo. Oh, that's so obvious. They still have to somehow, deal with their differences. Boba Fett never saw, Han Solo never saw Boba Fett because he was still blind on the barge. And even though he unwittingly killed Boba Fett but that was not very glorious. Oh, man. I'm thinking Kira, Han Solo, kind of also wrapping up the whole Solo thing with the movie that never got a sequel. Oh, that makes so much sense to do that. What do you think? Is that too much? Yes, everybody's like, yeah, do that. Yes, bring... There were Harrison Ford rumors? Oh my gosh. This is going to happen. I feel it. Darth Jar Jar kept Maul alive through the dark side of the Force. Yeah, no. Kira and a de-aged Han Solo reunion. That would instantly level up Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, to The Mandalorian, or even beyond. And of course, they can always ask Harrison Ford to provide the voice, or maybe even do de-aging, yes, or CGI, why not? Oh, yeah, they have to do Kira and Han. They could even give us a little bit more backstory that leads into the sequels, because we get to meet Han Solo and Leia. We don't know exactly why that marriage didn't work out. God, there's so many possibilities. It almost feels like too much for a short series like this. But if they do that, oh my goodness. Oh, that would just... At first, when I heard about the Book of Boba Fett, I was like, what are you going to do with this character? How is this going to be interesting? I mean, it could be cool, but how is this going to be adding like a vital story to the Star Wars canon? The more I think of it, the more I think, yeah, this there's so many story opportunities. I'm going to be so disappointed if this doesn't happen. Oh, boy. Just watch Rebels Season 3, Episode 20, Twin Suns. Okay, thank you so much. I will do that. Actually, I'm going to use this week to catch up on Star Wars Rebels because, yeah, I need some backstory to know what I'm talking about when I do this. I have to do like a speculation video or two. Harrison Ford is not really a fan of Star Wars. Yeah, but, you know, if he needs a new house, I'm sure he'll be on board. Or they can just do like a voice alike or something like that. Mark Hamill definitely loves his Star Wars. But they could always use Mark Hamill to convince Han Solo or to convince Harrison Ford that he should do this. I mean, it only needs to be like a phrase or two. After all, Luke Skywalker didn't talk much in the season finale of the Mandalorian. I read during production of Boba Fett they brought in a deepfake artist to their team. Ah, there you go. That's it. That must be it. I'm gonna do a production video. I'm gonna be busy today. I've got so much work to do. Yeah, and Han Solo definitely came back in The Rise of Skywalker, which he just agreed to, I think, very easily. They didn't have to convince him with millions of dollars. So, yeah, who knows? But I think, yeah, they could totally, especially if they tell him, hey, you don't have to act. We're just going to bring back your character. Here are 3 lines, and here's a digital recorder. Say this. Why not? And then Boba Fett facing Han Solo. The more I think of it, this makes so much sense. Kira, the Pikes, the connection to the spice mines of Kessel. You want to, I mean, as a Star Wars fan, I want to see what happened to the characters of the Solo movie. And I still hope that we will get a standalone series. It so deserves it. It was such a great setup. That movie was much better than most fans gave it credit for. What a time to be a Star Wars fan. Did we all watch the new episode? Don't want to spoil anything, so I'm making sure. Yes, everyone who's here, we watched everything. Although Luke's voice was a voice computer, so I guess they may just need a go for Harrison's likeness. I don't think they need Harrison Ford's approval because he signed away his likeness. That's part of the contract. That's how they can make toys and do animated series with these characters and comic books. So, yes, they can bring back Harrison Ford in a digital form without paying him, probably. Although, they probably do want to pay him a little bit just to, you know, you don't want to get into a public fight like they had with the Black Widow. Yeah, I think they learned their lesson there, that is not something you want to be out there in the news. And I don't think that's going to happen. My goodness, we're going to have so much Star Wars this year. Do you guys think Mando will make an appearance at some point? No, absolutely not. I think The Mandalorian is just going to be... You can't have two heroes in a certain way. That was already a little bit much, I think, towards the end of The Mandalorian, to see Boba Fett. And at the time, Boba Fett was really old and still, like, recovering and not the strong guy that he is right now. So, yeah. It's interesting that the whole sequence with the meal. I wonder why they put that in. Is that just to... And him refusing to eat. Is that an in joke to explain how Temuera Morrison has lost so much weight? Because he clearly is in much better shape than when he filmed the sequences for The Mandalorian, where he was, you know, kind of bulky. So maybe that's why? Or is there another reason? I just couldn't figure it out. I was like, I've never seen... Why would you have such a big meal for 2 people? And Fennec doesn't look like the person who is eating all the time either. So I don't get that. CK says, I never understood the alleged dislike Ford has for Star Wars. It's what put him on the map. Well, that and of course Indiana Jones. But Harrison Ford as an actor he was just not into the genre. He did it because, well, it was a good job. But he was the only actor who immediately took on, a role in another movie, a high-profile movie, to be able to do different roles, So, and even when after Empire Strikes Back, he threatened to not come back, and so that's why the carbonite scene was there, because they needed a plan B if Harrison Ford didn't agree to play Han Solo. That's also why they brought in Lando Calrissian as a potential replacement for the Han Solo character. Of course, that turned out very differently, thankfully, but yeah. It's just not his thing, I guess. So I don't know if this is a popular opinion, but that was the worst chase scene ever. Yeah, I agree with you. It was terrible. It felt wooden. I think they made a mistake doing it all practically. It felt as if all these bikes were on rails. It felt like the chase scene from Back to the Future. It was super slow. The speeder bikes were better in Episode 6. Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. That was a misfire. I understand why they did it. They want to do things practically, but it just didn't work. These speeders just, even like a Vespa in the streets of Rome is more versatile and more feels faster than these ones. Yeah. I don't like the cyberpunk Vespa gang. Would have looked less weird if they had been on Coruscant. Yeah, well, in a way, of course, the cool kids in a big city like that makes sense. But it didn't work that well. We don't get to know these characters. Well, they do have a little short role, of course, in the attack of the on Boba in his palace. But even them attacking Chrysanthemum wasn't entirely convincing. I don't know. I did like the fact that it was kind of like a callback of the golden era that George Lucas liked so much, and this was definitely an homage to what was the movie where we have all those these cars. IMDb movies. American Graffiti. Yeah, I'm sure that this scene was included and seemed like a good idea because of American Graffiti, but the execution just didn't work. And it's very hard to make like fake rides look convincing. You could do it for close-ups, like they did with the speeder bikes in Return of the Jedi, but if you want to do like entire chase scenes, the actual land speeder was also on rails. And you notice it subconsciously that these are not real speeders, and especially because we know how these things are supposed to move. Even the chase scene of Solo, young Solo in the movie Solo, in the beginning of the movie with Kira in the car, that looked much more exciting, and there was more movement of the land speeder than here. So we already know how this should look, and the fact that it looks not as good, it's a bit of a disappointment, I agree. But it's a minor quibble. The colors of the bike, yeah, but I know, but that's just an in-joke. That I think George Lucas would have done the same. Italian Job, yeah. But the train sequence compared to the chase sequence here, yeah, just set the expectation so high. I agree. All right. Bad practical is always better than bad CGI. Yes, but nowadays I think they could have done pretty convincing CGI with the speeder bike chase. So, and we've all also played the video games where it's very dynamic, and then this, I don't know. But again, as I said, minor quibble. The rest of the episode, there was a ton of things to think about. I'm going to get to work and make my reaction videos and analysis. That's going to keep me occupied for the rest of the day. Thank you for joining me this late at night for some of you, and this early in the morning for others. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and if you're watching this after the fact and you synced up with me, thank you so much for staying all the way to the end. I appreciate it. And make sure to subscribe to this channel because there are going to be Star Wars videos, multiple Star Wars videos during the rest of the week. So you want to make sure to see what I did with your input and your comments. By the way, if you're watching this after the fact and you have some more ideas about my speculations, etc., leave them in the comments. I read everything, and I always try to integrate your comments in one of my future videos. So, so by all means, do that. Give it a thumbs up before you shut down your computer. That also helps the algorithm. Most people, like 90–80% of the people, watch this this watch party after its live version. So, but that's also thanks to your thumbs up. All right, have a wonderful day. May the Force be with you, and thanks again for all your input. I'm Father Roderick signing off. Take care now.